Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Liam stifles optimism about living with Steffy and Finn. The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Thursday, May 1st, reveals that Liam Spencer deceived Hope Logan about his motive for living with John Finn Finnegan and Steffy Forrester. At the Cliff home, Liam took his meds before Steffy brought him with breakfast. Although Liam didn't have much of an appetite, he was grateful to Steffy and Finn for allowing him stay there. Hope ultimately called Liam for consent on Beth Spencer's, Jordan Grace, upcoming overnight, so he admitted he was staying with Finn and Steffy right now. Hope was taken aback by the news, but Liam pretended to have plumbing problems. Liam didn't want to burden Hope with his medical problem, even though Steffy urged him to tell her the truth. There weren't a lot of things Liam could control, so he at least wanted to control this and keep the facts under wraps for the time being. Hope walked over to chat with Liam in person, so she joked about his headgear. Liam continued to tell lies after running out of hair product, but Hope began to sense something was off. Steffy and Finn behaved odd as well before they proceeded to the hospital, where Finn explained the neuro team needed to do further tests on Liam. Steffy cried as she realized they were actually going to lose Liam, even though she hoped Finn could save him the way he saved Eric Forrester. That prognosis was tough for Steffy to cope with. Meanwhile, Hope pressed Liam to tell her what was actually happening on, but he stuck to his plumbing difficulties tale and claimed he was appreciative for the use of Finn and Steffy's guest house. Liam ultimately moved the discussion to Hope's relationship with Carter Walton and wanted updates on where they stood. Despite being aware that Liam was deflecting, Hope chose to ignore it. There was some discourse about the memories Liam and Hope had made during so many years together. Now Liam sensed Carter's love for Hope, so he pushed her to text him back and give their romance another try. Liam underlined the significance of Hope making peace with Steffy, Ridge Forrester, and especially Carter. Before Liam discussed the value of time and the importance of loving those you care about, Hope made a remark about his wisdom. At Forrester Creations on Thursday's B&B episode, Carter was distracted over thoughts of Hope and spoke to Ridge about the Forresters going back on their deal. Carter thought there to be a place for Hope when he resigned power, but Steffy convinced Ridge and Eric Forrester into changing their minds. Ridge said that without Steffy's consent, they shouldn't have consented to have Hope around. Carter hoped Ridge might discuss with Steffy the possibility of her reconsidering Hope's future at Forrester Creations. Lastly, Will Spencer thanked Electra Forrester for transforming his life and being the reason he stayed in Los Angeles, sharing some tender moments with her. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, this is just the beginning of things for Will and Electra, so keep an eye out. Hope confronts Liam, Will's confession, Steffy's warning. Liam Spencer's appetite. At the Cliff home, Liam swallows a tablet with John Finn Finnegan's encouragement. A platter of food is brought to the table by Steffy Forrester Finnegan. Liam isn't really hungry. Don't forget to check out our B&B spoilers for next week, here. Liam brings up how to explain the living arrangement to Kelly Spencer, Sophia Paris. Steffy advises that a repair needs to be done at his own residence. Steffy is urged by Liam to keep his illness a secret. Hope needs to know, Steffy states bluntly. Wow, bravo to Steffy. Logan's special request, I hope. At the Logan house, Hope recalls Carter Walton asking for another opportunity. Hope makes a phone call to Liam. She assumes he's at work when he was actually resting on the couch. Liam got an overnight invitation from Beth Spencer, however it falls on Liam's day. Liam replies it's okay and reveals he's now staying at Steffy and Finn's. Liam tells falsehoods regarding repairs being made to his house. Hope says she'll be right over. Liam tries to stop her, but Hope hangs up. The warning of Steffy Forrester Finnegan. Steffy is alerted by Liam that Hope is approaching. Steffy wants to honor Liam's desires, but he needs to tell Hope the truth. Steffy and Finn urgently discuss the situation with Liam. Finn says Hope will want to be there for Liam. The patient talks of being a burden. According to Steffy, he will always be family. Liam enjoys having support, but this is the only thing he has control over. Hope knocks on the door at that very moment. The success of Electra Forrester. Carter is meeting with Will, Electra, and Ridge Forrester at Forrester Creations. The most recent numbers had Elektra glowing. Ridge finally speaks up and stuns everyone by declaring he's proud of Elektra. The teenage designer claims her dream is coming true. It feels fantastic to be part of Forrester Creations. Elektra needs to return to working with Ivy Forrester on the new collection design. As Elektra leaves, Ridge tells Will, "Good job." Will requests for a promotion. They will speak when Ridge ascertains Will's precise role in FC. Can't blame the guy for asking for what he wants. Will gushes over Elektra. They kiss alone in an office. Will needs to confess something. Elektra is all Will can think about. Will enjoys his traveling adventures, yet he came home because he missed Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, and Katie Logan. Oh my goodness! Will thinks Elektra is the reason he stayed in Los Angeles. She altered everything for him, and he's better for it. They passionately kiss. Ridge Forrester's perspective. Carter tries to smooth things over for Hope with Ridge. It doesn't work. Ridge claims to have been Hope's stepfather. The deception is extremely painful. Carter mentions his own treachery. Ridge clarifies that the difference is that Carter took responsibility, whereas Hope hasn't. This bothers Carter. He brings up how Ridge breached his deal, the bit concerning Hope. Steffy changed his mind, and Ridge let it happen. Ridge claims that they are to blame since they never ought to have reached that arrangement without Steffy. Carter asks if there is any chance of Steffy reconsidering. Ridge encourages the COO to ask Steffy personally. Carter delivers a plea and asks whether Ridge is willing. Hope Logan's confrontation. Finn answers the door. Hope appears and makes a joke about Liam's beanie. Liam says he ran out of hair products and didn't want scary hair. Hope wonders, how long? Everyone has an awkward pause. Liam recognizes she's talking about how long till the repairs are done and says until the difficulties are handled. Hope frowns with distrust. They'll give them some alone time, Steffy says. Now Hope is definitely suspicious. Since when has Steffy ever offered to give Hope alone time with any man? Never. Hope asks Liam what's actually happening when Shin leaves. Liam maintains he doesn't know what Hope is talking about. Hope once again, discreetly begs him to be honest. Liam has a dilemma and it's a bigger matter than he realized, and Steffy offered him the guest house. Liam continues by saying that he knows Hope is going through a difficult moment and that he has wanted to catch up with her. How are you? He asks. Secret advocacy. Hope becomes tearful as she talks about being banned from FC. Liam tells Hope that he feels Carter actually loves her. Carter answers Hope's phone when it beeps. Liam advises her to give Carter a chance by texting him back. Liam begs Hope to make up with Carter. Not just Carter, but Ridge, Steffy, and everyone else. Hope is taken aback and calls Liam smart. Liam advises her to love the ones you love and to cherish time. Finn and Steffy are in his office at the hospital. Finn hangs up the phone and says the hospital needs Liam back immediately for tests. Steffy, wearing her silky, tiny leopard print shorts, gasps and paces the office. Steffy doesn't understand why can't modern medicine fix Liam? Finn has sympathy for Steffy. This brings back memories of Eric's dismal situation, yet Finn saved him. Steffy hopes that the same can happen for Liam. Finn comforts his wife as she tears. Hope wants Liam to respond. Elektra was commended at Eric's office for the success of her jewelry sales. The jewelry line is killing it, Will added. Elektra believed that attending the fashion show was a dream come true. Will requested a promotion when Ridge informed him that he performed well as well. Once I figure out what you actually do, we can talk about it, Ridge replied. When Elektra and Will left, Ridge noted that Carter was deep in thought. Without Hope, Carter acknowledged that it was difficult to be at Forrester Creations. Ridge didn't care when Carter reiterated that he was the one who came up with the plan for the coup. At least Carter apologized, but Hope did not. That didn't set well with Ridge. Carter emphasized that they needed Hope. Hope for the future is missed here. Hope is missed here, Carter said. At last, Carter acknowledged that he was annoyed that Ridge and Eric had backed out of their pledge that Hope would still have a job at Forrester Creations. Ridge argued he and Eric should never have told him that without consulting Steffy. Carter questioned whether Steffy might change her mind. Once Carter was alone in the office, he began thinking about Hope again. That drove him to text Hope and ask to see her. Will and Elektra walked to their favorite dressing room, where all Will could do was laud Elektra some more. "You deserve everything that's happening to you right now, Elektra, and even more," Will remarked. At last, Will informed Elektra that he needed to confess. "It's just crazy to me. You and me. I never thought something like this could happen," Will stated with a trembling voice. He acknowledged that he missed his parents, which is why he moved back to Los Angeles. He never expected to discover someone like Elektra. "You are the only reason I am still in LA, he remarked. Liam, Finn, and Steffy sat around the breakfast table like a large, happy modern family. Steffy even offered Liam a smoothie and avocado toast, but he insisted he wasn't hungry. It turned that Liam was now living with the Finnegans. They would just tell Kelly that it was temporary while Liam was getting repairs done. Liam once again requested Steffy and Finn not to inform anyone about his tumor, but Steffy properly pointed out that Hope deserved to know. Later, while Liam was dozing off on the couch, Hope called. Hope requested whether Beth could go to a sleepover during one of the days he was scheduled to be with her. Because of plumbing problems at his house, Liam made the decision to inform Hope that he would be staying at Steffy and Finn's. Hope was a little surprised but said Liam she would be right over. Liam notified Steffy that Hope was on her way, so Steffy restated her attitude regarding Liam informing Hope the truth about his illness. Liam refused. "I'm not doing that to Hope right now. Hope's got enough on her plate," he stated. According to Liam, he had time to tell her because he wasn't dying tomorrow. When Hope arrived, she was startled that Liam wasn't staying in the guest house. When she noticed the ski helmet on Liam's head, she questioned it. Liam explained that he was wearing a hat because he had ran out of hair product. A concerned Steffy and Finn left before Hope looked at Liam curiously and asked him what was really going on. "Is there something more going on than what you're telling me?" asked Hope. Liam kept maintaining it was plumbing difficulties. He hadn't told Hope since he knew she was going through a hard time after the blow-up at FC and the loss of her relationship with Carter. Liam decided it was the ideal opportunity to switch topics. "How are you? Where are you and Carter at?" he inquired. Hope was not fooled by Liam's deception. "I see you, Liam. You're deflecting, but I'll let it slide this time because I care about you, too," she added. Hope started reminiscing about the enjoyable moments she and Liam had spent together. She was resolved not to have her heart destroyed again, but when Carter stayed with FC and she was forced to leave, Hope was heartbroken. Liam said that he believed Carter actually loved Carter. Just then, Hope got Carter's text. Liam instantly told her to text him back. Liam wanted Hope to make peace with everyone, especially Steffy and Ridge. "Sometimes I forget how wise you can be," Hope said. Although Liam wasn't entirely certain, he reminded Hope that time was of the essence. In Finn's office, Finn told Steffy that Liam's doctors wanted him back in the hospital for more tests. Steffy began to cry once more, forgetting the triumph of the fashion show. He has 2 little girls. The thought of them growing up without their father, I don't get it. Modern medicine cures so much. Why can't it cure this? Steffy questioned. Steffy even remembered that Eric was in a similar scenario at the end of 2023. Finn found a way to save Eric, so she had believed the same thing could happen for Liam. But it's not. "We're losing him, Finn," Steffy wailed. Hope Logan stood on the edge of a decision she never thought she'd face again, her heart shattered in too many directions, trust tested beyond repair. And yet, as Los Angeles swirled with gossip, rivalries, and the unending revolving door of Forrester turmoil, it was Liam's unexpected support that quietly shifted her direction. In a week filled with shockwaves, none were more painful than Daphne's strategy finally being uncovered, a web of deceit and ambition that tied Carter, Hope, and anybody else too blind to see what Daphne was after. But Hope had seen just enough. One glimpse into Carter's eyes as the truth about Daphne unfolded under Katie's watch was all it took to feel everything she thought she had lost flood back in. Carter Walton had been exploited, trapped, and lied to, not unlike Hope herself in recent months, and suddenly the two found themselves standing at emotional ground zero. But it wasn't simply sadness drawing them closer, it was insight. Hope had been pushing Carter away, mistrusting his motives, blaming him for the very betrayal Daphne plotted, and now, with the cloud cleared, the guilt weighted hard. And that's when Liam surprised everyone, most of all Hope. Instead of jealousy or judgment, Liam gave support, honesty, and a reminder of who Carter had been when no one else stood by Hope. Despite everything going on, his medical scare, his own complicated emotions with Steffy, Liam knew one thing: Carter never stopped caring for Hope. And in that moment, Hope finally recognized it. She never completely let go of Carter. The grief wasn't just betrayal, it was dread, fear of being wounded again, of picking the wrong man, of not being enough. But Liam, in one of his most mature moments, informed Hope that the past didn't define her future. And those words opened something inside her. She met Carter again, not in rage or perplexity, but with peaceful comprehension. The type that comes after surviving the storm. Carter, humiliated and wary, didn't plead his case. He simply stood there, raw and honest. "I never stopped believing in you," he said, and it was all Hope needed to hear. The plot had been exposed, undoubtedly, Daphne's lies rendered clear, her machinations wrecking lives and reputations. But in the ashes, a fresh beginning sparked. Hope saw Carter not as the man who abused her but as someone imprisoned in a falsehood he didn't create. As the city moved on to the next controversy, Hope and Carter took a slower step. No declarations, no rushing into passion. Only two people, wiser and traumatized, decide to get together again. And in the background, Liam, once her everything, watched silently, knowing he had done something right. It wasn't about who won Hope for once. It was about Hope choosing herself, and maybe, just maybe, Carter. Hope had always thought that transparency was the foundation of any healthy relationship, especially her marriage to Liam. Despite their difficult past, the innumerable betrayals, and the emotional roller coasters they had faced, she had clung to the assumption that they were finally in a decent position. Liam had been her rock, the man who had stood by her through thick and thin, or so she believed. That was why, when she stumbled into the truth about his new living arrangements, her entire world crashed in an instant. It started with something small, a missed call, a strange text message, an unexpected delay in responding to her. She initially wrote it off as work-related stress or because Liam was busy with his regular duties. But as days turned into weeks, the distance between them grew, and Hope couldn't shake the feeling that something was badly wrong. She attempted to rationalize it, telling herself that she was overreacting, that marriage has its ups and downs, and this was just another period they would overcome. But then came the day she planned to surprise him at his new apartment, a location he had said was merely a temporary solution to be closer to the office. She knew as soon as she stepped inside. The perfume of another lady, whose aroma she was all too familiar with, filled the air. Steffy. Her stomach twisted into knots as she took in the tiny signs, an extra toothbrush in the bathroom, a silk robe draped over the chair that wasn't Liam's style, a pair of heels beside the entrance that certainly didn't belong to her. Her hands trembled as she stepped further into the room, her heart thumping so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Then she spotted it, a framed photo on the nightstand, one that verified her darkest fears. With their arms encircling one another in a manner far too personal to be innocent, Liam and Steffy were grinning. The room whirled around her as the revelation hit. Liam wasn't just living closer to work. Steffy lived with him. She was overcome with memories of Liam's recent evasiveness, his apparent need for space, and the way he had been emotionally withdrawing. She had hated herself, wondering if she had done something wrong, if she had failed him in some way. However, the fact was now indisputable as he stood in the room that should have been his alone. He had lied to her. Once more. And it wasn't just about the one thing she had pleaded with him to never do again. The second time, betrayal was more painful, particularly from someone who had vowed to love her without conditions. She slumped onto the bed, holding the picture tightly as tears clouded her vision. What was the duration of this? How many times had he met her gaze, vowed to be honest, and then slipped away to Steffy as soon as she turned away? Worst of all, she ought to have anticipated it. Liam had a heart that was forever split between the two of them. However, she had thought, no, she had had to think, that he had finally made her his permanent choice. She was startled out of her reverie by the sound of the front door opening. Hearing Liam's voice and then Steffy's laughter made her breath catch in her throat. They were together. Now. Returning home. As the bedroom door creaked open, Hope's body instinctively responded, her feet leading her to the closet, where she hid. Through the slats, she watched as Liam and Steffy entered, their hands intertwined, their devotion evident. Liam's expression on Steffy was the same as it had been in the past. The agony was excruciating. She tried to stop a sob by putting a hand to her mouth, but it was too late. Liam's attention was drawn to the sound as the floorboard beneath her moved. He glanced toward the closet, awareness showing on his face as his eyes widened in fear. Wishes? His voice was tinged with guilt as he whispered. Now there was no hiding. She stepped out, her tear-streaked face a mirror of the misery inside her. The hush that followed was deafening. Steffy's look moved from shock to sympathy, which just made it worse. Liam grabbed for her, but Hope recoiled as if burned. How were you able to? She choked out, her voice breaking. After everything we've been through, after all your promises, Liam's excuses fell on deaf ears. There were no words that could undo this. The guy she loved had betrayed her in the worst imaginable way, and this time, there was no coming back. Their marriage ended when the truth came to light. The sound of Liam calling after her faded as Hope turned and fled. She had lost him, not because of fate or circumstance, but because of his own frailty. And there was a pain she wasn't sure she would ever recover from. As she drove away, the weight of the reality crept over her like a smothering blanket. Steffy had been Liam's choice. Once more. And this time, there would be no forgiveness. The life she had battled so hard to construct was ended, and all that remained was the sad fact that some love stories weren't meant to survive.